Oh, yeah, so we're live. Okay, great. So, how to crush your YouTube channel. And by crush, I mean how to completely destroy your traffic, your views, your likes, your shares, your comments, your follows, your subscriptions, joins, all in all, your engagement rates. How to totally destroy them. And I don't mean that in the positive sense, like crush the numbers. I mean how to actually crush them to nothing. Well, there's a lot of ways you can do this, but I find one particular way most telling about the platform. And that way is to deliver golden nuggets of information with low or no production value. For example, these live streams. I mean, I find it amusing. However, if I was trying to be a YouTuber, full time with this channel, and I was, I don't know, say I was limited in the resources available to make any kind of effort or production value, right? Beyond just walking around, filming the ground or whatever randomness is around. Right? These are still moving pictures, right? So moving, I know. The information, right, that I share is of some value to people who want to know about marketing or trading or maybe other topics that I talk about. Well, let's just say either of those two. Bitcoin, right? I'm someone who's been in marketing for more than several decades, right? Since literally 1980. So you could say I know a thing or two about marketing, especially considering I've literally written some rules about marketing, rules and regulations that to this day impact the marketing industry and much beyond it. And I've been in Bitcoin since basically the very beginning. Yes, I know. A couple weeks late or something because I was busy with my band at the time. So, you could say, effectively, that I know a thing or two about these things. Bitcoin and marketing and trading, whatever. Because I co-founded a group that trades the VAPs. We created our own suite of indicators and our own methods for how to do that, and people how to do that, etc. All for free. So the information is relatively high quality. Yet the production value is very low. And maybe I don't always optimize the titles, or maybe ever, because I'm not trying to game the system. I'm what YouTube claims anybody can do, yet proves cannot be done. Right? I'm just making content that satisfies me, and in theory, the YouTube algorithm should show my videos to at least 7 times as many people on a given week than they did on the past week. When I say show, I mean that they would see the thumbnail. So if 10 people saw the thumbnail this week, any of the thumbnails, then next week, roughly 70 people should see the thumbnail. And of course, that is not until infinity, because they have only a certain amount of impressions to give away. But considering the amount of people who make content versus the amount of people who consume content, they have plenty of inventory to let people grow in that fashion until they have many thousands of users, even well into the hundreds of thousands. It's in their interest to do that because they want select creators who follow their game plan to be well seen by people. Now, I know Google claims they don't curate videos based on what they think about a video or anything like that, but rather it's that their bots are merely there to respond to what people are engaging with. What people find interesting, the more people find something interesting, the more that video will be shared with other people who have similar interests. The magic is in the statement. What they're telling you is, they'll say that if you make a video that people engage with, the bot will show it to other people who have similar interests. However, how do they determine those interests? In theory, it's based on what you engage with. But in truth, it's a whole lot more than that. It's also what you don't engage with. It's also how you engage. If you write comments, what kind of comments? Are they high quality score comments? Low quality score comments? Neutral quality score comments? Do you write long messages, which they actually harm you for? That's right, they prefer short, stupid comments, but not too stupid, but just stupid enough to catch people's attention and trigger them to responding to you. Why? Because most people watching YouTube are not going to read a long comment, even if it's incredibly well thought out. Now, yes, of course, there are some long comments that get commented back on quite a lot. However, for the overwhelming majority of commentary, you'll notice it's short and punchy, much like the low-tier cesspool of intellectual capacity in the world today. Now, I say that not to poke fun at a particular group of people, but to generally say the intellect of human beings, despite all our advances, the average human knows far less today than knew 20, 30, 50, 100 years ago. Now, you could argue, well, the things that we know now are far more advanced. To which I say, no, that's just not true. The average leading scientist might be, right? Average leading scientist, you get that? The average top engineer might be smarter, only because they know the things that were known 100 years ago and have learned the important things in the advancement of science and math since then. However, the average schmo does not know more than the average schmo knew 100 years ago. In fact, people are now less and less resourceful and capable of doing things themselves than they were 100 years ago. How do I know this? Well, okay, quantitatively and qualitatively. Do you think that the data reflects that more people are skilled at any kind of DIY, whether it's fixing things around your home or repairing objects? Or do you think the average person these days tends to throw things out and buy new stuff? And if you're going to tell me, well, that's a positive sign, it means that we have a society of surplus, an abundance mentality, I will tell you, yeah, abundance is wonderful, but waste is not particularly useful if you don't make use of it. And most people don't make use of their waste, they just toss it out like trash and let it go to waste. So, people have lost a lot of skills. And believe me, I am not pining for yesteryear. I'm not hoping to go back to a day of less technology or anything like that. I'm just saying the average person has less practical skills now than 100 years ago. Can you tie a double hitch knot? Can you tie a half slip? Can you tie any kind of knot other than maybe your shoes or maybe a bow tie? Right? The fact that men consider tying a tie or a bow tie to be challenging these days is laughable. However, many men do. So, think about that, right? The fact that the average person finds it difficult to make pasta. Flour, water, an egg. Beat it, mix it, beat it, cut it up, cook it. Right? Oh yeah, you have to let it sit in the fridge for an hour or two, or on the counter or whatever, to let it rise and all that stuff to get more, let it grow. If you're going to tell me that that is somehow challenging, and I understand the convenience of using prepackaged food. I'm not against it at all. I find it incredibly convenient as well. It does not mean that the skill set required for boiling pasta that's pre-made is the same level of skills as making pasta from scratch. Right? Knowing basic historical facts about the world. You say to me, those are trivial facts. Who cares about the past? We live in the present, and the future is where we're heading. Okay, I will say to you, those that do not know their history, ... If you don't know the end of that sentence, you've just proven my point. And I'll tell you what, you might know the end of that sentence, but guess what? A huge proportion of people, dare I say the majority, do not know the end of that sentence. And so, I posit to you that people have lost their way because they have surrendered. We as a society, as a race of humans, have surrendered much of our ability to the convenience of products, services, technology, life accommodating enhancements which are convenient. And again, not that there's anything necessarily wrong with making those select choices in your life to have a more convenient life. But there is a great potential risk of survivability if you are stuck in a situation where you are reliant upon skills, ingenuity, resourcefulness, and you don't have any of those skills because you've left your entire life up to other people and technologies to handle what normally would be basic life skills. So when you say to me that your ability to function in a technologically advanced society means you know more than people knew 100 years ago, I say, balderdash, right? If you took the average person from 100 years ago and put them in society today, on the one hand, they would be, they would be temporarily surprised by the advances in technology. However, they would quickly catch up to that, and their other life skills would make them far more practical and resourceful and capable of success in life in this age than the average person of today, who basically hums along just getting by without even attempting greatness. And not that everyone needs to attempt greatness. It's just a reflection of the desires and ambitions of all the generations who came before us, who did strive, for the most part, to improve their lot in life. And now, we are at a point where people's lot in life, on average, if they have average jobs, is so comfortable that they would rather not bother to improve their life. They're perfectly happy having what they have and nothing else. If you ask me, that is a sad, sad reflection of the state of affairs. Because we have so much more potential, given all of the technology and other advances that we have in civil society, compared to people 100 years ago, where life was a lot more restrictive. Everything from social behavior, cultural norms, do's and taboos, and the actual technology that was available to make people's life easier and more convenient. And rather than take advantage of these amazing advancements, rather than exploiting the benefits of them in a positive way, people, being lazy, have sat back on their duffs and watched it all go to waste. And the proof of that is in the average intelligence of the average human. Because again, we may know more updated information, but it doesn't mean we know more information than people who spent their lives learning by reading and by practicing and doing things. And they gained, frankly, far greater skills and abilities that allowed them to rely on themselves more, especially when times were lean, as opposed to the average person now, who simply relies on technology and other wizardry cooked up by actually smart people on the bell curve, who have bothered to learn, who are the outliers in our society, who are the engineers and the developers and the mathematicians and the other scientists and doctors, etc. The bright ones, not the average ones, the actual smart ones, who do make a difference and do push our technology and society forward in many ways, right? And you can argue also maybe the bright lawyers and the bright artists and the bright whatever else. But let's focus on science, shall we? Because they're the ones who have a most obvious impact on people's day-to-day lives. Even though the others do too, kind of. Or even a lot. So, the point is, this is a reflection of what society is like in our world. People who are notoriously lazy repeatedly let good opportunities go to waste. And that is why you see, with every new brilliant innovation that shakes the world to its core and pushes the world ahead in some way, you see a lagging set of data falling behind, and that lagging set of data is growing over time to the point where more and more people are sheep operating within the matrix, with the walls created by the people who develop those walls, right? The scientists, the engineers, the whoever. And that the average sheep, or sheeple, or sperson, the average human, is less and less inclined to leap forward, despite having more and more opportunity to do so. And part of the reason is platforms, or networks, or communities, or societies where people are given supposedly the opportunity to do so are in fact restrictive places where they suppress the average person's ability to reach out and connect with more and more people, thus amplifying their ability to actually reach success. How can I demonstrate that this is true? Well, I've shown you this week, by speaking with you, about how X limits your reach by actually being social and doing the things that Twitter supposedly isn't supposed to encourage. However, they ding you negatively for doing those very things, which forever they have been telling you are good for your social scores. Turns out they're not. They've been lying to you. Why would they lie to you? They lie to you to control you. They lie to you to have little buttons in their computer program, right, which are automatically switched on and off at the time to determine how high or low your so-called social credit score is and how high or low your reach is. And the more you actually actively engage on Twitter, the more you're harmed by it. Right? The more people you follow and communicate with, if they don't have good scores, etc., the more you're harmed by it. Guess what? You may not have seen the code on YouTube or elsewhere on Google, but I can assure you it is very similar. Right? If you comment on videos that YouTube does not like, it's not going to be good for your social score on YouTube. If you like videos or share videos or even follow channels that YouTube says has a low score, like my channel has for sure, or other channels that I've run and created, some of them, not all, they will ding you. And yeah, good luck to YouTube finding all those channels, because try as you might, hey, you'll never find all of them. But the ones that I put up in my name or connected to me directly, many, many, many years ago, they've decided that I'm too on edge. I share things that they don't want shared. And I give people insights into how things really are. And they're afraid. They're positively 100% provably afraid of a rogue informant, call it me that if you want, somebody sharing information from inside the ivory tower or inside the gilded halls of the world of high tech, who knows about this stuff, and sharing it with the common rags and dregs of society, the way they view the world, from their elitist point of view, as they look down their noses at everybody else and say that all those people are peasants. Right? They actively say that. They really call people that. Sometimes they use different words. Users. Right? They barely ever call them customers, because most of the time, most of the people in their quote-unquote audience or using their platform are not customers at all. They're just using free services, and they're being exposed to targeted advertising. And all of that is in an effort to control people, to control their interests, to control their actions, to compartmentalize people, put them into tiny little boxes, and control their thinking and their actions. If you don't think that's the case, well, you've got another thing coming. So that is what I wanted to share with you. If you like this, hey, don't be afraid to click like, but you probably should be, because I've just told you that Google will ding you for it. In fact, if you don't click like, and you don't share, and you don't comment, and you don't follow, and you don't subscribe, you're just demonstrating to me how much you understood this message, and that demonstrates to you how much this message is true, because they will have controlled you, because you fear their ability to ding your social score on YouTube or wherever else you might see this video. If you're not afraid of them, do all those things. In any case, happy YouTubing. Cheers.